Getting laid off can feel like the end of the world, but what if it's actually your best shot at freedom? Today, Beau's going to walk us through exactly what to do if you just lost your job and have some savings, or maybe not a lot, and how that money could buy you your next chapter as a business owner. Hey, Beau, how's it going?
Going fantastic.
All right, so you've talked with a lot of people who come to you right after losing a job. What's the first thing you tell them?
You got to work for yourself. You got to own your own business. So you don't have to deal with that, right? How many people spent 15, 20 years at a company and they just get laid off? And some of them lose their retirement, right? The day before retirement where they're vested. I mean, it's happening in the federal government. So I say, put destiny in your own hand. And so, but Beau, I don't have income. How am I going to qualify? Right. And so we're hopefully answer some of that today.
All right, so why do you think a layoff can actually be a turning point instead of a setback? Because a lot of people get down and they get depressed and they like go into a tailspin. And how do they get out of that?
Look, we're all human. I have days that, I aren't great. Um, I think you have to believe in yourself and you have to finally say, look, I'm going for it. What's the worst that's going to happen? There's nothing, right? Like, and so I would just say there's no better time than now. We've already said that. And just like, if, even if you're, haven't been super successful in your life, but maybe you're a hardworking tradesman and you got laid off from the federal union job or whatever. A lot of opportunity in service based businesses. So people go, well, I don't have that much money. I don't have a job. So, how am I going to do it? Well, you can actually find a business that has owner salary kicked in. You can use that salary as your new salary. So if you found a good cash flowing business that has enough salary that would basically cover all your expenses by basically like a bank would look at like, hey, I'm taking this $10,000 owner salary. My expenses are 5,000. Perfect. We actually can make that work. So you don't technically need a job today. I mean, obviously it helps, but if you found a good cash flowing business. So instead of you going back to just take a job that you're not in love with, that you're like waking up every day not happy, I would say you should look at a business or a franchise.
So, what do you think some of the biggest mistakes people make during this stage? They just got laid off and they kind of are like, they don't know what to do.
I think they kind of sit on their thumbs a little bit and then they get into a position where they burn through whatever savings they had, and then they're forced to go back W-2, forced to take a job, and it's usually a job they're like not even in love with at all. It's a job they're like just like I have to do something, or they start, or they drive Uber and they're like, hey, I don't know what I'm going to do, and they kind of tailspin. Versus like you got laid off, um, why not jump on the opportunity of looking around to see if there's something that you could make work from a financial standpoint or buy an existing business. And there's lots of opportunities. So I would say like you just can't get down. You have to think positively and you actually have to take action. So like the more action you take, the more likely you are in a short period of time to actually get into a business versus waiting and being depressed. Like nobody's going to save you. Let's face it. So you might, I believe you should just take action because there's a lot of good resources out there and you can get financing.
So, a lot of people in this situation would think that they need, you need a ton of money to buy a business. Um, if you've got a little bit of savings, how far can that really go? Like, give us a typical scenario of like a trades based franchise or something like that.
I mean, hypothetically, you found a franchise that was cash flowing on a resale basis or a small mom and pop business for $300,000. You need 30 grand down or 15 if the seller carried back 5% on full standby. So, or, right. So 15 grand for a $300,000 business or 30 grand, 5 to 10% down. Um, But remember, if you're not currently working, you got to make sure you have enough. There's enough owner salary that would cover all your expenses and your debt service from that. That your debt to income essentially would be there. So you might have to buy a little bit bigger business. We have to look at your financial situation. But if you're a corporate person and you got laid off because of AI or you got displaced, whatever, and you had 100 grand, Um, you could buy $1 million business in theory, right? And that usually has enough owner compensation in there. So there's lots of ways to structure it, and a lot of times you can get a bigger seller carryback. So there are options for you, or maybe your spouse is still working, um, and you can get into a franchise startup for 150 grand total project cost, 15 grand out of pocket. So there's lots of opportunities. You don't need a boatload of money. It helps, but you don't need it.
So once that person buys that first business, how do they grow it without burning out?
Well, I think you gotta be a student of the game of business and keep on growing, right? Like we all have bottlenecks in our business. How do some people run 50 companies? They just what's so special about them? They just know something that we don't know, which is leverage. So you have to understand leverage, and you have to understand human capital. I think that's a thing that we overlook a lot. The people that work for you, the contractors that you work with, human capital can really grow you if you do it in the right way, because you can't possibly be one to everything. Now, granted, with technology today, you can be a lot more efficient. So I think the people that are studying this, like I just think about Bill and I have worked together for 12 years. How much more efficient we are today than we were 12 years ago on creating content or whatever we're doing, marketing events that we've thrown. So I just think you have to evolve. If you don't evolve, you're not going to do anything. So how do you evolve? And so to scale, in my opinion, is that you learn how to evolve. And so that might be hiring some international talent in the Philippines, right? That can help you do some tasks. Our dollar is worth 50. It transfers at 59 pesos per $1 American. So you can leverage a little bit, or you have children that could work in the business. I mean, there's a lot of ways to scale, but I think you have to understand technology. Like if you're not currently using any type of AI for anything, I would say you're missing the boat, right? Like AI has been. I think you have to like look at these technologies and platforms, and you have to learn to be a good operator first, and then you then can become a business owner. Tony Robbins just talked about it. We I think we talked about it, Bill. But I bought into that video a lot because it's right. We all come in and we have to be an operator. At some point, you understand now you're the business owner and you're working on the business, not in the business. That's a Michael Gerber e-myth. So we all have 24 hours in a day. This is how you make the best 24 hours. And once you understand the leverage of working on the business, not in the business, and getting out of your own way, because I talk to a lot of franchisors, and it's the same conversation. The guy that I was talking to a franchise today, and he said the guys that go in and they want to do the handyman work themselves as the owner of the business, they grow it to $1 million, which is great business. But the guys that are growing, running $5 and $6 million businesses in that franchise, they don't get in the truck and fix things anymore. So that's the difference.
Yeah, so for anyone watching who just got laid off or is about to get laid off, and maybe they've got a little chunk of cash sitting in the bank, what's the smartest first step they can take right now?
I mean, I might be biased, but I would just go to bookwithbeau.com, schedule a call with our team. Actually, it's me. I talk with everybody on those calls. So for right now, until I can replace myself with somebody as handsome and as smart as I am, uh, just kidding. But anyway, at some point, right? That's what we were talking about scaling. I'm right. I have to clone myself, so you'll get AI Beau instead of me. But right, you book a call, and we have a conversation. We talk, and we do a business assessment, and we see what's out there for you. And I break down that it's really not that hard to do it, and hopefully, I can push your buttons a little bit and get you excited to take action. And this is probably the best thing that could ever happen for you, because you're like, you always want to own a business, right? And this is what the point now. You're like, screw it. I'm X amount of years old. It's like I don't want to go back and work for these jackasses anymore. So that I think that's your motivation. So I hope I can help you in that journey to help you get into a business.
Yeah, so in closing, I just want to say if you've been laid off or are ready to take control of your next chapter, connect with Beau at bookwithbeau.com, and he'll take care of you. He'll give you that business assessment, have a conversation, You'll get a lot of clarity, but make that call. Book that call. All right. Thanks.
If you're a solopreneur or small business owner, listen closely. Business growth isn't about working harder. It's about building smarter systems. It's about automation. And that's exactly what GoHighLevel helps you do. Build your funnel, automate your follow-up, manage your team, all in one place. Click the link below, activate your trial, and see how much more efficient, automated, and profitable your business can be in just 30 days.
.com. Hey guys, Beau Eckstein here. If you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe to this channel. We talk all things financing. I've been in the lending industry for over 20 years, and I'm happy to answer your questions and provide great content.